Every 7.5 minutes, crowded all day. All day. And the second poem I'm going to read is about when I lived in that neighborhood on the Chelsea Everett line. These are the last 4 poems in the first cycle in this chapbook. I'm going to pre-apologize if I mumble or stutter. Just throw something at me. It's called Birthday Across Parallel Universes. You were born in the blood month, just before the festival of moth light with its banter of candles and ceremonial wigs. It was raining. We named you Rain. We named you Luck. The luck month nipped at you with mid-breezes. 10th day of the tide week. Last spoke of the star-shaped calendar. We plumped you in soft clothes. Each silk pattern spun sacred. The longest day, anniversary of eclipses, night's month, night god's month, mid-harvest, last year of the second moon, sea day, feast of evergreens, week of forgiveness, hearth hour, coronation of monuments. It was then and too soon, moonless, and we wept for the tiny feet thrust from your mud-red cloth, waxy, cricket-hearted traveler, your impossible fist punching a passage straight out of our days. This is the one I was talking about. Called Storefront, Botanica, San Miguel. You, San Martin de Porres, hand-painted in Mexico. Forgive my heart its disguises, its fishnet and false eyelash, its promises. Forgive this neighborhood, its effluvia of wastewater and dead pets, its lapses and strangulations of life. And you, 6 holy virgins of Guadalupe, identical in your starburst coves of plaster. Let the near park scrub of trees overflower with cascades of mist. Allow the small yards their thrill of glossy hostas, the common grasses. Allow the morning its shake. This one's about the neighborhood I grew up in, which is not far from the neighborhood I was living in. It's called Substantial Fascinators. That year we all wore flowers in our hair. You, your plaited halo of daisies, and me, my gushing exit wound of ivy, ringing a suggestive central orchid. The neighborhood kids were face spirits with dandelions tucked everywhere, and old Joe nodded off on his front street, a spiky crown of braided iris, suddenly princely in blue overalls. You remember Maddie and Murph shuffling home from the bar on another day on the dig, swinging lunch coolers with playful sprays of wildflower blazing from the temple? We saw finally how pretty they were. We were losing Blake again, but this time in a fire of marigolds, head to shoulder and everywhere. He lay right down in them, and we wept at his eyelashes, dusted like the kicking yellow stems of peas. And Ed Gallo, the butcher, curb scraped his dented old, his ears tufted with black-eyed Susan and Pussy Willow, his apron brown with a day's blood. Out back, under his father's gray barber, Carlo, constantly adjusting his pin of daffodils, tipping along next to David, who was alive and had forgotten leukemia, and draped his forehead with a soft wreath of orange lilies and butterfly weed, and smiled there like a blonde-poised object. The flowers are gone now, but I can still see Cicero, who burned down his own house and stabbed his brother for being queer. With pink roses woven into his long mohawk, you could see he was just an abandoned child wanting love. Even Leary was there, clean for once, and not hanging from a motel room clothes rod. And when I saw him pushing white apple blossoms into his black curls, I forgave him for everything. All that year when I looked at you, I knew you loved me, and I watched you, all daisy, larkspur, and yellow tulle, and couldn't bear the thought that everything changes. We sat in the yard. My father was lighting the grill, balding and dripping with small carnations, And all of us were just so goddamn beautiful. This one's the last poem in the first half of the book, which is called Portico. But they all tend to have the theme of home and place and stuff. It's called To a Blind Goldfinch. The rest scatter in a The rest scatter in a blear of black contour and covert, and unkindness, a small chevron flung to distant limbs. Circumstances palsy you to perch, still gulleting seed and caulking the frail turret of your skull. I approach, see the rugged pits that were your eyes, and remember the child abandoned by playmates. Blind man fluff, how eventually the weight of solitude made him pull back the scarf and find nothing but grass in the gray face of houses. How he returned the blindfold to see if he could bring them all back. Sympathetic magic, a first desperate pagan gesture. And how he went home, taking the story with him, and became a man who sifts out thistle and calls finches to the feeder and finds you blonde and helpless with a shuttlecock headlong into night, a yellow inclusion in a murk of polished stone, semi-precious. Oh no, I didn't finish that. I think this is going to be the last one. I'm going to read something more. This is called Two Burned Children Build a Foot-Tall Snowman. I don't think I've ever read this one out loud before. Sturdy duck pin of a man, their hands of soup, the keg of his torso to hard polish. He is humped at the sidewalk's edge, a little ghost draped in a blue sheet of breeze. Skin ice like the clear burn mask a smaller child wears, costume that cannot conceal. As I pass them, we are briefly four, salved in the light of the hospital's wide window. They are wrapped in their cold craft, smoothing, then leaning back to admire him. Glinty one, melt-slicked totem, effigy more perfect for its crudeness. I am footing back toward the place where I am a useless artist. My own children ask me to convert fractions to decimals. I answer, the dark is decimated by fractional light, because I am afraid of failing them. But here, briefly, each of us is smiling and proud. Four snow children, staring out through our sleek selves, punching up from the concrete like crystals of alum. All our bare scalps exposed, all our fused fingers bandaged, engulfed in the work of shaping figures without injury, transient families to huddle with before we step from a curve and ruined surfaces.